Hey. This is Cornelius James. This is the Black Thought Interviews. And today we're interviewing Eric Patrick, the CEO of Black Market Exchange. He's educating us on the stock market. Very bright young man. Great interview. And I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. I believe this is episode 12, right? All right, well, let's get into it.
You are now tuned in to F.U.L. Podcast Show, where family unites listeners and listeners become family. Now allow me to introduce your host, Cornelius James and Mr. Info Joe. And oh yeah, F.U.
Come and talk deserves a walk. Come and talk deserves a walk. Come and talk deserves a walk. Commentating, illustrating.
We created this podcast for the people, for the comments that's not represented. But now we got a voice. Yeah, now we got a voice.
F.U.L. Podcast Show. F.U.L. Podcast Show. F.U.L. Podcast Show.
Hi, everybody. This is Cornelius James for F.U.L. Podcast, and this is the Black Thought Interviews. And today we're interviewing Black Market Exchange own Eric Patrick. And let's welcome him to the show. And how you doing today, Eric?
I'm all right. How's everybody doing?
Man, I'm great, man. It's a good day, and it ain't too hot. You calling from Dallas. I'm in L.A., and it ain't too hot today. I'll say that much. It's not too bad.
It's trying to warm up here, though.
Well, you guys get it kind of rough, right? Y'all get rain and, what y'all get, humidity? You get rain?
Yeah, I'm originally from Florida, so it's not as humid. It's not as humid here as it is in Florida, but it's hot either way.
Yeah, I heard Florida is rough, too. I've interviewed a couple of people from Florida. It's muggy, they say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't, say I'm from Central Florida area in Tampa, so it doesn't really go over 100 degrees, but it always feels like it because it's so humid. So.
Okay, let's just back it up a bit, Eric. And the name is Eric Patrick, correct, right?
Yes.
And you have a company called Black, and podcast also, right? So it's Black Market Exchange. Can you give people a brief description of about yourself and what you got going?
Well, as you say, my name is Eric Patrick. I'm a pharmacist here in Dallas, Texas, and I'm from Tampa, Florida originally, but I have my undergraduate degree in biomedical science from the University of South Florida. And from there, I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C. to do pharmacy school. And I moved here after graduation. I've, been working as a pharmacist ever since. And just kind of from that, I started getting into just the stock market investment area. And that kind of brought along Black Market Exchange today.
Well, let's back it up. How do you go from pharmaceutical to the stock exchange? Can you elaborate on that? I want to know how that got to that.
A good friend of mine, he just was telling me that he was trying to get into it. The whole Wolf of Wall Street, movie was still pretty hot at the time. So he was looking into it, penny stocks and just other things. And so he was like, hey, man, you should check it out. So I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and check it out. And it kind of interests me just because there was so much information out there. I'm the type of person that I'm always researching something. If I see one thing, I try to find, who is that person? Who is that person? Or where is that from? And so on and so forth. And so as I got into it, it just became very interesting. And I saw that there were different ways. It wasn't just penny stocks or it wasn't just stocks alone. There were other elements to the stock market. And it was just such a wealth of information. I was like, this is good stuff and it's not that hard. I just kind of took it from there. I've been in it for about a year heavy. The first stock I ever bought was Facebook stock when they became on the stock market in 2011. And I didn't really focus on it, but then when my buddy, told me about it, I started looking more into it. I was like, this stuff is pretty cool. And I just kind of been doing it ever since then. Always, seeking information, seeking new ways to invest and make money in the market. And it's just been a blessing since then.
Nice. Well, Eric, when I think about the correlation, right, from pharmaceuticals and the stock exchange, I say that makes sense because, so many pharmaceutical companies, that's what really is running, I think, our government, period. Oh, yeah.
Period. It's funny because a lot of the healthcare insurance companies, some of them are looking to, get bought out and merge together and stuff. So a lot of those are booming right now. The biotechnology industry, where, a lot of cancer meds and Ebola treatments and stuff like that are made in, that's pretty booming right now. So the healthcare industry is, they might as well just run everything.
And it correlates with stock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that was great. I loved it. We can keep going on from there, but let's move on with one of these questions here. Okay, Eric, what would you prefer to be called? Afro-American, Black American, African American, colored, etc. Which one would you prefer to be called?
I don't think I have a true preference, but I will say I use the terms Black or African American more often than anything else. I've been kind of getting into using man of color, person of color, and people of color lately, just to try to I don't want to say bridge, but just more so focus on the equality amongst minorities. My initial starting for Black Market Exchange, of course, when you see that I'm Black and you see Black in the company's name, you think, oh, that's only for Black people. But in actuality, we all want to be in the Black with our finances, which is just a good standing. And I want that to be for all minorities. So that's why I've been kind of transitioning into more of the person of color status, as opposed to just saying I'm Black or I'm African American.
On that question, when I asked it, I've asked that question a lot of times, and the answers are always different, and I appreciate your answer. Let's move on to the next one. The next question is, what do you think of our culture's current state in America?
I think the current state, there's two things going on. I think there's a wakening up, as kind of been going around with all the events between, with Freddie Gray and Mike Brown, stuff and of course with the Confederate flag going on currently. I think that there's just kind of an awakening going on within the Black community, and people are, the whole "I'm tired of being tired," sentiment is really coming to fruition, and it's actually displaying in action. I don't think that there's still a ways to go, but I just think that that's kind of the awakening that's going on. But I also think that there's a transitional period happening, because when you think about it, this country was built on Black labor. And so a lot of things have come out of that, whether if it's businesses or inventions have come from Blacks or even other minorities, and were kind of stolen from us. And I think that we're kind of taking that back. A lot of times, I'm 29 years old, and so my parents kind of instilled in me, you go to school, you get a good education so you can get a good job and take care of your family. But now that sentiment of just going to school to get a job for security is kind of becoming out the window, and a lot of people are trying to become entrepreneurs. They want to own their own stuff. The whole Dame Dash sentiment, if you don't own it, or if it's not your money, you don't own it, you're not the boss. And I think everybody is trying to take that back and really show, this country was built on us, so don't think we can't do it again.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, let's move on to the next question. We're $1 trillion a year consumers in America, but we own little to nothing. And what can we do to change that, Eric?
I think to change it, there needs to, of course, be the spend within, just spending with other Black businesses. But I think it also points to spending wisely. So even if everything isn't necessarily spending within, it's just how you're doing your spending. One thing I always tell people is we need to transfer from consumers to investors. And, that doesn't necessarily have to be only in investing in the stock market, but just how we look at things. So if I'm buying a pair of Jordans that cost $200, but Nike stock is sitting over here at $100, I can get 2 shares of Nike stock as opposed to those Jordans. And if we kind of instill that mindset into the youth now, and they think that way growing up, I think that it's gonna produce better purchasing habits, and it just might get them to think outside the box and really help build the community. Because now if instead of just buying Jordans, maybe somebody will have their own shoe company. So let me support them, because one, I still need shoes, but I'm making an investment in another person that looks just like me.
Love it, Eric. That's great. Let's move on to the next question, Eric. We're giving our President Obama a report card. What grade would you give him? A, B, C, D, or F, and why?
I would say a B. I mean, it's kind of hard to get an A in anything because you're always striving to be better. He automatically, you can put him at a C just because he had to fix Bush's stuff. But I say with the B, just because of some of the things, the increase with the healthcare reform. He's kind of revamped the country in terms of what he did with the auto bailouts, the unemployment's going down, capturing of bin Laden, just kind of a culmination of different things that's happened under his regime. And I mean, I think that he deserves the right to at least have a B grade.
Okay, appreciate that. Eric, can you give me 1 to 3 books that you've read that changed your life?
I would say there's 2 books that really hit with me. One was The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason, and that's just kind of just basic finance stuff. Tithe 10%, save 10%, be wise about how you spend your money, so on and so forth. And then from like a business aspect, there's a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. It's actually got 2 authors. It's W. Chan Kim and Renee. It's part of my pronunciation, but I think it's Malborn. And essentially, they talk about how the business industry is full of red ocean. Everybody is trying to get the same thing. So you need to try to find or create blue ocean, which means you have your own niche. So say, for instance, my company, Black Market Exchange, I'm in investment education. Now that essentially is a red ocean because there's so many different entities that have investment education. However, I'm targeting people of color and using hip hop, so it's kind of, in essence, trying to meet people at their level. And so that's where the blue ocean strategy, that niche, comes into play. And I think that's just a good book for people looking to really try to step outside the box in terms of how they're forming their business. Now, there's also a couple other books that I'm looking into, because one thing I say, people always mention about books, reading books, but then what about the Black authors? And so there's a book I'm looking to read called In the Black. It's a history of African Americans on Wall Street by Gregory S. Bell, and I think it was presented by Black Enterprise as well. But it's just given the history of just blacks in Wall Street in general. Kind of that you have to know your history, know where you're going. And then another one is Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun by Reginald F. Lewis. Okay. Yeah.
But it's not about me. You inform the people.
Yeah, he's pretty, he's done a lot in terms of for blacks from a business standpoint, and just kind of like his drive. So I haven't read either of those, but I'm looking to get into that because, I feel like we need to support our Black authors as well, whether if it's in business or in just knowing our history.
Nice. Now, Blue Ocean, I've just downloaded that PDF book, right? Mm-hmm. And I haven't started it, but I understand the gist of it too. Now, I just finished 0 to 100 by Peter Thiel. Check that one out. That'll let you know pretty much from saying that, you start from 0, meaning that there's nothing like it, to 1 to be the only business like it. So it goes with. So if you can't check that one out too.
Sure.
Yeah, but hey, Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? Another book. Hey, I love everything you dropped there. I appreciate it. 29-year-old young man, black world. Look what we got coming. We really appreciate that. You're mine, and we appreciate you, Eric.
Appreciate it.
So, lastly, can you tell the folks where they can find you via location or social media?
Well, we have our website is www.thebmex, that's BMEX.com, and the BMEX, of course, is just short for Black Market Exchange. Our website pretty much has everything that we do. We have our podcast. We load that up there. We have weekly programs where we talk about stock market news and education. Our Instagram page is at black_market_exchange, and Twitter is at BMEX, that's BMEX_. But, all of our platforms can be reached from our website. So if people just go to that www.thebmx.com, they'll be able to see the little widgets or badges at the top of the website, and they can link to everything that we have. One thing that people tend to like a lot is our podcast, which is, they can search Black Market Exchange in SoundCloud, but we title it Brent Money in Life. And we're about 17 episodes in, I want to say, and it's just a good review because it's going into the minds of going from that consumer to investor standpoint. So just go to the website, and people can get everything from there. Looking into other ventures, but we'll be releasing that information pretty soon as well.
Tell them about the T-shirts, man. I love the T-shirts. It's ingenious.
Oh, so the T-shirt came from, I actually started this 5-day course. It's called In the Black Starter Pack, and basically a lot of people kind of want to get into something very quickly. So I took the information that we have, and then I kind of organized it as well as added some other videos in there. And basically I take people from finding money to invest, because a lot of people say I don't have any money to do it. So I teach them how to find money to invest, and by day 5, they will actually invest in something in the stock market. And so upon completion of that, I thought of, why can't people have something to kind of represent this newfound knowledge they have? And so we came up with this investor nutrition facts, which we call a healthy investor T-shirt. And essentially we're saying people are now healthy investors because they have the knowledge that they need to kind of get where they want to go in terms of wealth accumulation. And it's just a representation of it. And now people will see me or see someone with the shirt on down the street, and they'll be like, oh, that's pretty interesting, because especially if it's a black person, they're going to be like, what you know about stocks and bonds? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to see it, and you're going to be like, oh, I know a lot, and here's the website that helped me out. And we actually even put a stock tip under the shirt so people can flip the bottom of the shirt up. And on our shirts now, it says buy low, sell high. And every shirt that we're going to come out with from now on, we're going to throw in like a stock tip on there, just a little something extra.
Love it, love it. Listen, F.U.L. fam, that's Eric Patrick representing Black Market Exchange, and this is the Black Thought Interviews. We must support him because he supports us. Eric, we really appreciate you, and this is a great interview. And we're going to hope that me and you continue to reach out to each other. I will reach out to you.
Definitely.
I need some of that information you got.
No doubt.
Well, thank you, brother. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Now allow me to introduce your host, Cornelius James and Mr. Info Joe. And oh yeah, F you.